Hi everybody, thank you for watching the first episode of the fourth season of the KMS Quick Shots. My name is Flo, and today I'm joined by Petra, Pim and Marcel, the Dutch pop noir trio known as Chabliz. Hi guys, nice to meet you.
Hi man.
Hi.
Hi.
So let's start with a little history, shall we? Having classical musical backgrounds, when and how did you guys meet?
I think
That's a good question.
after that.
Whoever wants to go first goes first.
I'm late to the show. I joined the band as the last of our trio because I had a piano player before, and I had to part ways with him. So I joined a couple of years ago.
So when was Chabliz born, and was it your brainchild, Petra?
Yes, I think so. Together with a former pianist. So it was our both our idea to start, and we started as a duo, and then it became a quartet, and later on, now we are with the three of us.
Since when is this formation of the three of you final?
I think 4
5
years ago.
something like that.
Yeah,
I
4 or
think.
5 years ago.
No. Yeah. Yes. Something like that.
Yeah.
All right. So
our drummer left, and then we well, we were not really looking very hard for a new drummer, and later on it was okay to go on with the three of us.
So
it opened new perspectives to go on with the three of us as a trio.
It seems that you're not just confined to a one static band formation or something like this. So I read that you're working with guest musicians as well, if necessary, for the projects.
Yes, we do that a lot.
How do you approach them? Is there some linear process to get new musicians on board?
Mostly out of our own network, especially for like string musicians. Generally, we find people in our network that we already know through other means to play on our records. Sometimes, like for the last single, we went to Fiverr for a drummer, which actually worked out pretty well. We got some other friends that usually do the guitar parts for us. And for background vocals, it could be family, it could be anyone, but usually people we already know.
Okay, so when ordering over Fiverr, isn't this involved with a lot of I don't know, choosing process, like do this for us, and then you hear what the outcome of the thing, and you say, that's not what we're looking for.
It's a bit of a back and forth, but we were really lucky with the last drummer. Basically, I sent him the tracks the way we had them, with like electronic drums on them, just to give him an impression of like, yeah, we want something like this, but human. And then we sent him the track with just a click track and just the vocals and no drums. And he came back with like a multi-track that we could import into the project, and it worked out just fantastically. You can get lucky with these people, basically.
Was there any time that you didn't get lucky, that you had someone who you played with or you wanted to do a project with and came up with basically nothing at all?
No, that hasn't happened yet. I think there were a couple of times where we didn't use all the material that we got. But generally, when we get people to play, somehow, yeah, it always works out. We've been lucky that way.
So with this crazy COVID situation happening for quite a while now, what's practicing and playing look for you guys nowadays? Do you still practice as a whole in some studio?
Well, we're a trio, so that makes it very easy to stay within like most of the guidelines with regards to COVID, because you're allowed to have 2 guests. So what we did for the last 2 years, especially practice in my living room. So that works out fine, and that's the advantage of not having a drummer, is that you're not so noisy that your neighbors are going to hate you.
True.
Yes, and yes, Pim has a grand piano, so it was logic to go to his place.
So this is also where the live gigs happened, I guess.
Yeah. So
yes,
the situation makes it really easy because we're only a trio. I already invested in some live streaming gear to facilitate other musicians, do some classical concerts and registrations and live streams for them. So I've got the cameras, I had the switcher, so it was pretty easy to also use it for the band.
Okay, so that's the smooth transition to my next question, because I've seen you've been busy with the live streams on YouTube lately. How's the reception on those? How did you came up with the idea to even do them? And I guess this is COVID related. And how's the reception on them so far?
Well, every time we do a live stream, more people are watching it. So it's more people than when we do a real live gig. So it's for us it works very, very well. The only thing is that we are not paid, but that's the only problem. But with the audience, it's well, it's more people that are watching, and also afterwards. So in the week afterwards, people watch it too, who didn't have the time to watch it on the event itself. So we're quite happy with it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the magic of the internet as well, is that, I mean, we make music that is not quite, you know, your standard cookie cutter music. So you're going to find fans all over the world. We're getting them to get to your gigs somewhere like in the ass end of the Netherlands is never going to happen. So we get viewers that would never show up at a gig, and they really enjoy it. We get great feedback.
Yeah, so this is also the wonders of the internet that makes possible chats like these, because otherwise I would have never stopped in a gig place in the Netherlands to hear you guys. So
yes.
That being said, would you say that live streaming will be a constant for you guys, even when the COVID situation or the COVID restrictions are lifted someday and live gigs are possible again?
It'll probably be both, though. I mean, I do like in front of people. You got like this whole atmosphere of being live, and you know, in front of a camera, you get some chat feedback, but it's not quite the same like when you get live applause. Just to make it simple.
Yeah.
So it'll probably be a situation where we'll do both. I don't think we'll stop streaming because, like we said, it allows us to reach people that we otherwise wouldn't reach.
Yes. So
yes.
you ended 2021 with the release of the EP in Bluebeard's Garden. Can you give me a quick overview on how this project came to life?
I didn't hear the last part of your sentence.
Oh, sorry, I'm going again. Can you give me a quick overview on how this project came to life?
How this project went.
Yes,
I think.
so from the idea.
Yeah. Well, okay, Marcel, perhaps you can tell something about it.
As part of a larger project, we're making a CD, and the EP numbers, 3 numbers on the EP, is part of the larger CD. So, and that's well, a project starting a couple of years ago, and well, that's how it happened.
So, do you plan on releasing a full album in the end?
Yes.
Yes, later this year.
All right. What made you make this decision to come up with a full album instead of just releasing single tracks?
That's a good question.
Just personally, and I know I'm old school in that, but I prefer albums. Even now, when I'm on Spotify or Apple Music, I might check out like the recommended feed list. But when I find an artist I like to listen to whole albums. Also, it gives you a chance to, you know, be a bit more versatile in what kind of music styles you bring forward. If all you do is singles, then you get like this expectation that you make a certain kind of music, and if you make something else, you'll lose people. Whereas if you make an album, you can have a couple of numbers that are, well, a bit, you know, off the beaten track, and they'll fit in better. So I like the format just better when it's like something long like an album.
I guess you guys are also trying to tell a wholesome story instead of just 3 minutes of I won't say meaningless pop, but you know
Yeah.
what I mean with that.
Yeah.
So is you said before that this was a project that is long in the making. So from where on did you decide, okay, we're gonna make the whole album instead of just EPs or single tracks?
Yes, we were making an album, but we also wanted to do some singles and an EP from it. So one single, one EP, and then in May, June this year, we released the album. So we do actually both, but the single and the EP are part of the album. But we had those 3 tracks on the EP. We had them ready, and we thought, well, they fit together in a way. So yes, that's what we did. In a way, they can go together on one EP. They are related somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I think for the album also, the thing was we had like 12, 13 songs in the pipeline that we already started using in our live repertoire. But it felt like, you know, we had enough material to make an album, so why wouldn't we?
Mm-hmm. With the 3 of you being classical trained, is that correct?
Well, I am. I did a lot of opera and classic singing, but it's a long time ago, because after that I did also a jazz. How do you call it? Jazz department of the conservatory for 1.5 years. So that's I did both actually, but both I didn't do for the whole course. How do we tell it? The whole study.
Yeah.
So I do a bit of everything actually, and Pim he did play organ, so that's also
I think
classic.
as a kid, I started
not
as
only
a classical
that.
organ, but I went to school studying music technology, which was more like geared towards synthesizers and modern, like avant-garde music. Then I got an interest in jazz, so I love that. At the moment, I'm actually pretty steeped in classical because I'm studying classical voice. And I started studying the violin. So most of my classical exposure is actually from like the last 5 or 6 years.
And I think with Marcel, the answer is easy, because you cannot play this instrument without a classical training.
Well, it's possible, but actually I started piano classical. That's my starting point, and from there I went to the bass, and mostly I studied jazz bass, but it involved some classical studies as well.
Was there a certain point where you decided that's my kind of instrument, because it's a bit unusual for musicians to choose it?
Well, I don't know, but for me, it was the first time just by chance, I had a bass guitar in my hand. And that was a click. And I knew that would be my second instrument, and now it's my first instrument.
Okay, so with you guys meeting and creating new tracks, is there sort of a mutual thing that you guys do to invent new tracks, or could it be that every single one of you comes up with an idea and say, hey, let's make a track of this or that one? Or is it always a team effort?
Most of the process,
team effort,
although is a team effort. What we do is we start practicing. Most of the tracks on the new album started out basically as an improvisation. Like, so I'll find a piano riff or something, and I start playing, and then Petra starts finding a melody that she can sing on it. Marcel starts finding something to do with the bass. We record that like on an iPhone or something else, just like a throwaway take. Then we figure out, because we get like 20 or 25 of these a year, and the ones that we really like when we listen back, then Marcel will usually transcribe it. So he put down the harmony, and then we come up with some kind of form to put the song into. We come up with lyrics, We take it from there.
What makes you guys transform the music once it's created into even video tracks? Is this coincidental with guys approaching you and saying, "Hey, let's make a video out of this," or is it a planned move to pick several tracks and say that's a video kind of project and that's a video kind of project?
Usually it's people just helping us out that come forward and say, "Hey, do you want a video?" And then we might suggest, "Hey, we could do this song or we could do that song if it's really suitable." But no, it's mostly just friends, acquaintances that are into video and feel like, "Hey, you guys should have a clip."
So what was the crazy?
And they sometimes they choose because they want to make a video for us. So then they choose which song they want to film, and they have sometimes an idea about it. So twice we were not the ones who chose, but the people with the camera chose the song. And of course we had our influence on it too. We could say no, not that song, or perhaps you can choose from these songs or something. But in the end, they chose because, and I can imagine that because it's their time too. So
beggars can't be choosers.
They can influence it.
So was there any crazy ideas coming from the outside that you guys refused to do? Like, nah, that's really not what we meant with this.
That's a good question.
That would be nice, yes. But
has that happened? I don't think so.
I wanted to make a clip. Sorry?
I don't think we
What did you say?
with any untoward proposals for a video clip that we said, "Nah, we don't want that." But
Yes, well, I wanted to make a clip, and you didn't want to do it.
oh yeah, but
with our single. Sorry. Well, it was more lack of time by then. I think it was not that he didn't want to make it, but we had a lot of other things to do too. So and it takes a lot of time to make a music video.
Yes, I can imagine. Yeah.
Combined with engineering your own tracks, which is really great. We've got lots of control. But on the other side, because we got lots of control, it also means that everybody's got ideas, because we're not on the clock. Everybody turns into a perfectionist, and that's not a complaint, but that's not what happens when you go to a studio with like an engineer that does it for you, and he records you and he makes something and you say, no, it's not nice. But now you have like the possibility to go back and back and back and say, no, maybe we should try other vocals, maybe we should try this, so try that. So it's a very elaborate process.
If you when recording new ideas and new songs, do you also take care of the whole post processing process, like mixing and mastering, or do you give it to someone else?
No, we do everything in house. We try to do mastering externally for the previous album. There was such a back and forth at the end. I think for half the tracks we actually ended up mastering them ourselves anyway, because we just couldn't agree with any mastering to get it the way we wanted it.
And who would tell you guys how to record a bass, for example? So it's just not the process of putting a microphone there, any kind of microphone, and hitting the red button, but it's a whole room and thing behind it. So did you learn this by yourselves?
Pim did the education for it. Pim did the study for it. And so he knew a lot already.
Music technology conservatory course I did involve bits of recording as well.
Oh, okay.
Although, admittedly, you learn how the stuff works, but you need experience, and we had to go through a lot of experience to actually figure out what works and how to get a workflow that you're not like taking 6 months tweaking until something sounds well. I think it took me about 5 years before we got to that point. And
making thousands of mistakes before.
That's part of the process.
Yeah.
It's not just a matter of putting a microphone in front of a bass, although if you ask me now, like, what do you do to record the bass? I'll honestly answer, I put a microphone in front of it.
Yeah, I'm sure you can make it look very easy, even to record such instruments in, let's say, your living room.
And I think we were also struck lucky that the acoustics in the living room where we usually record are well working out well enough that we're not running into many problems in that department.
Mhm.
So just stick a microphone in front of something, record it, and go.
Okay.
Yeah, we're at the point that usually it doesn't take that much trouble to make it sound well.
Mhm. So with the you said before that you're planning on releasing the album in 2022. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so this will
In
be
May
the
or
major
June,
plans.
we want to do it.
Okay.
Yes, that's until May and June. That's the major plan. And after that, we will and we go on with doing live gigs and doing live streams. So that's the plan. And perhaps in the second part of the year, we can record. I hope to record a video, music
Mhm.
video again. Perhaps that are more or less the plans.
Is the streaming thing a linear one, like one event a month, or do you just plan them as they are possible?
Every 2 months or something, we do it.
Okay, but
we
there
plan
are
it,
there are no fixed dates, like every 5th of the second month or something
Not
like
like
that.
clockwork,
No.
but we do try to keep a bit of a regular schedule because, well, you don't want to do it every week because people start tuning out. So yeah, usually it boils down to once every 2 months, and depends a bit on everybody's schedule, which exact day we'll pick.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So-
during Corona, we had a few, because there were a few lockdowns and things. Marcel had Corona last year. So sometimes we had to reschedule it because of the lockdowns, etc. But yeah, it's usually every 2 months, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so the main plans will be the release of the full album and the continuing streams so far.
Yep.
And hopefully, I
Yes.
guess, live gigs once they are allowed.
Yes,
So-
we hope so. We
Yeah,
hope so.
yeah.
All right.
Up for in a couple of months, but you know, chances are 50-50 that those will get cancelled because I think we had a couple planned last year as well, and then you know, another spike in all the infections and they're off the table again. That's just how it goes right now.
In the end, you can only cross fingers and say, okay,
Yes.
hopefully it will work.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Perfect. Guys, Petra, Marcel, Pim, thank you very much for meeting me tonight. It was a
Yeah.
pleasure to have you
Us.
here. Guys out there, if you want to know more about Chabliz and their works, please make sure to check out the links in the description of the video and of course the description of the podcast. So see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Bye.